The fourth episode of Friends is titled, The One with George Stephanopoulos. October 13, 1994, was the date of its debut. James Burrows directed and Alexa Jungay wrote the screenplay. Phoebe is dozing off on the central Perk couch, which Ross and Monica see. When Phoebe awakens, she tells that her grandmother's lover was staying over last night, therefore she didn't get any sleep. They must have made a lot of noise in bed since it kept her up all night. Phoebe agrees when Monica offers to let her stay the night. When Chandler and Joey go into the coffee shop, they give Ross their hockey tickets for the Rangers vs Penguins game that evening. They act as though they are giving Ross a birthday present, but when he realizes they have 3 tickets and couldn't pick which one gets to bring a date, Ross says his birthday was 7 months ago. It dawns on Ross, as he studies the tickets, that today marks the anniversary of their first sexual encounter. He decides to spend the evening thinking about his ex-wife and her lesbian companion after becoming melancholy and telling the boys he won't be at the game. Ross is ready to head home, but Joey persuades him to stay for the game by claiming they would purchase a large foam finger for him to wear. After getting her first payment, Rachel walks over beaming. Her joy is short-lived, though, as she finds that her earnings after taxes have not increased significantly. In an attempt to lift her spirits, her friends tell her that the money is decent for her first job and that she will be able to live well on them. There's a gap during which they attempt to somewhat gently assist her by leaving a large tip. The lads get out to play hockey. Rachel's old Long Island pals, Leslie, Joanne, and Kiki, walk into the coffee shop. When the 4 ladies get back together, they jump up and down, yell, and give each other hugs. When Rachel's former friends see her working, they are taken aback. Joanne remarks that the apron her waiter is wearing makes her appear to be in a play. Rachel is jealous of Leslie's enormous baby bump, Kiki's stunning figure, and Joanne's admission that her father has promoted her to partner in his company. Once more, they all yell with excitement, and Kiki flashes her enormous engagement ring. This side of Rachel surprises Phoebe and Monica a little, and they make fun of her and her former pals. The boys stroll to the hockey game at Madison Square Garden. Ross is starting to irritate Joey and Chandler because he's constantly seeing things that make him think of Carol. Ross keeps talking about the old times at the game, but as soon as the game starts, Ross loses all memory of Carol and becomes an ardent Rangers fan. Before Ross gets struck in the face by the hockey puck and they have to go to the emergency room, the 3 guys are having a fantastic time. Rachel is eager to hear about all of the rumors circulating back home at Central Perk. Everyone is still talking about how she abandoned Barry at the altar, Kiki informs her. Joanne asks Rachel when she is returning home, which makes her feel uncomfortable and shifts the conversation. Rachel chuckles and attempts to make it clear that she intends to make this her permanent home. It's obvious that her pals don't think much of her, they think she would much prefer be a carefree wealthy Long Island girl back home. Ross is waiting to see a doctor at the hospital waiting area. After more than an hour of waiting, an anxious Chandler approaches Nurse Sizemore, the snarky receptionist, to let her know. Chandler converses with the glass instead of her when she closes the glass panel on him. Ross admits that he has only ever slept with one woman since Carol caused him to lose his virginity. His pals are shocked by this, and Joey remarks that playing hockey was a bad idea. When Ross eventually makes it to the clinic, Joey and Chandler talk about how Ross has only ever dated one woman. Chandler says at first that he finds it endearing and romantic, but he later comes clean and says he believes Ross is weird. With a chunk of steel bandaged over his nose, Ross makes his way back to the waiting area. The receptionist gives him a quick glance and chuckles at his lack of beauty. The hockey puck is owned by a spoiled youngster in the waiting room, but Ross wants it as a memento. Ross begs for it to be returned, but the child says no. When Ross tries to grab it and knock the receptionist out, the object shoots out of his hand and ultimately puts a grin on his face. Monica and Phoebe are getting ready for their sleepover back at the apartment. When Rachel walks in, she discovers that Tiki Death Punch includes rum and begins to sip it straight from the blender. The credit card company calls. It's Rachel. Her account has shown some peculiar activity, since it appears that she hasn't used her card in weeks. This sends Rachel into a tailspin about how her life is going apart in general, her poor salary, and the success and happiness of her former pals. Monica and Phoebe attempt to lift her spirits. All their attempts are in vain, and Rachel succeeds only in making them feel worse. Phoebe has a tiki death punch as Monica consumes a batch of cookie dough. When their pizza arrives, Rachel opens the door and apologizes for dragging him down with her. She finds out that the pizza the delivery person delivered them was not the one intended for George Stephanopoulos. When Monica hears this, she bolts off the couch and heads for the door. The attractive press secretary for President Clinton starts to make the girls swoon. With the pizza in hand, they proceed to the balcony to look for George via the binoculars. They watch George and his companion. When the lights go out, they believe the pair has left for a sexual encounter. After drinking, the females begin to divulge secrets. Monica reveals that the veggie pâté she had previously prepared for vegetarian Phoebe was really made with goose. A few hours after the breakup, Phoebe tells Monica, feeling victorious and disgusted, that she doesn't feel guilty about sleeping with a guy. Rachel escalates the situation by disclosing that the Valentine's Day card Monica received from a male was actually from her. This saddens Monica even more. She informs Phoebe that Monica used to be overweight. In retaliation, Monica claims that Rachel once, while laughing, poopied her pants in 7th grade. Phoebe interrupts Rachel and Monica's argument by pointing out George with the binoculars. When Dad finally gives in to their pleas, the girls are overjoyed. Joey and the girls are playing Twister during the end credits. Rachel gets a call from the credit card company again, so Chandler steps in to let her talk to them. Rachel responds to questions about why she hasn't used her card recently by expressing that she's okay and that speaking out about it gives her more self-assurance.